Hey, Ben from CrossFit Millennium here. I just wanted to go over the jerk, either a push jerk or a split jerk, and why I think we see a lot of mistakes on the jerk. Okay. Generally speaking, we sort of go through the strict press first, then we move on to the push press, and then the jerk with our members, just simply because it's easier to understand. If you start with one, you can build on the other and build on the other. So strict press is easy enough if we're looking from the side view. So front rack position, this is the side, this is the barbell. We start at the shoulder, we then press the bar up to an overhead position. Start at the shoulder, press the bar up to an overhead position. So all shoulder strength, easy enough for everyone to understand, there's not too many problems with that one. We then, after we've managed that, we move on to the push press, where we add this dip in. So again, we start at the shoulder height, we dip down, then we drive here, which gets us about 3/4 of the way up, and then we're left with this little press at the end, which does require some shoulder strength, obviously. So we dip down, we drive up 3/4 of the way, we're left with a little bit that we need to press out. The reason we can push more with the push press is because this last little bit that we're pressing out is far less than you have to press from a strict position. Okay. If we move on to the jerk now, we dip from the shoulder all the way down. We then drive, again, 3/4 of the way up, and then the last little bit, we can then push ourselves back under the bar to this overhead or locked out position. So there's hardly any pressing involved if you get the timing right. So we dip, a lot of the leg drive helps us up, and then we can drop under using our legs again, allowing us to land on locked elbows. The reason we see members, and even myself, we get it wrong sometimes, landing on a bent elbow. The main reason is usually because we've cut the dip short. So when we go to jerks, we tend to cut the dip short about halfway down, which means we're ended up with a drive that's short also about halfway up where it should be. And then we get left with this massive gap between where we finish the drive and our overhead landing position. We then try and drop under like normal, but again we're still left with this little section here that is unaccounted for. So I'll give you an example. We dip halfway down, we drive halfway up, the bar's going to be moving up, and then we're going to try and lock out, but we're not going to get there. The bar's going to land overhead, but our elbows haven't had time to get through, and then we're left with that ugly press out at the end that doesn't feel too good. So to fix it, what we need to do is think about push presses. Again, they all relate to one another, so if you nail your push presses, which most of us do, we don't have too many problems with that one. Use the same dip you do on the push press when you jerk. Exaggerate your dip. It's going to feel like you're going too far down, but it won't. It will be exactly the right position. You're going to drive it all the way up, and then you will be left with that little push under that will make the jerk so much easier for you. So again, this is the common mistake. Just halving your dip, which means half your drive, and then you're left with this drop under section that's going to be too big.